Hello again, everyone. Hope you're all, again, doing very, very well out there. And I just had all this extra time before I had to go to work today, so I figured, like, well, I was going to do a channel update anyway. I might as well do it before work instead of after work. So I have more time to edit things after work, and then I can relax for a longer period of time at the end of the night. So, whatever. So, here on the channel recently, a lot of things interesting going on. The first thing, this new retro video series, one I dropped for the Halloween TV cut, stuff like that, man, it's blowing past all the freaking expectations. As I'm sitting here right now, the thing's gotten about 1,200 views in about 48 hours, which, like, almost never happens. Seems the retro video series very much does peak up the numbers, because the Sea of Love video where I did it, and it did better than the Pacific Rim one, but it got over 200 views, but it just kind of stalled out a little bit afterwards, and it's just kind of like going nowhere now. It's like, just the review stuff just doesn't seem to, like, really kind of go as far as it used to. Whatever the case was, I just have no idea why anything happens on this platform. There's no rhyme or reason. I watch videos, people trying to explain things. None of it makes any goddamn sense. It's like, how do I tap in to make the thing function for me? I have no clue. It's just complete bullcrap. So, I just keep making videos I enjoy making. Hopefully, people are excited about them and they go off in different places and do good things. But I will be doing next that retro video series episode I did promise about the changing color grading on Heat and the few things here. And there also talk a little bit about how Michael Mann constantly goes in and refutzes with entire films, making different edits and different releases and blah, 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 blah. There's a fertile enough ground to talk about that type of stuff. So that's what I'm planning to do over the weekend. Hopefully I gear myself up and get myself back at that headspace to make that happen. So that's the only thing kind of in the way right now. Just kind of shift my focus and get back on that. So I'll probably get onto it, no problem whatsoever there. But all the other stuff, we got commentaries coming out. We just had one for Gremlins 2. And I think as of this Monday, I will have both the Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 commentaries up on Patreon. And then I believe we'll be releasing them we'll be releasing about 2 weeks apart. I think they'll probably be starting the successive Friday. So 1 week from this Friday. Damn, recording this is Friday, so hopefully release it on Friday. But as it'll be about 1 week from today, I think we'll release number 2, and then 2 weeks after that we'll release number 3. But if you go on Patreon, $1 a month, you will get early access to that stuff and hear all the wild, ridiculous bollocks we got into on the whole damn thing. So it's a hell of a riot of a thing, because there's no analysis. There's nothing to go off of. There's just nonsense and Bruce Springsteen puns to get into. So there's a lot of stuff to get into on that thing. And so you can enjoy that in due time. And I think that about covers everything I've done recently on the channel. Did the Blu-ray news update, talking about all the other great stuff, the Prophecy coming out in 4K for Vinegar Syndrome and various other things. So check that video out if you haven't already, but most of you probably have. But in regards to that, so coming up past all this type of stuff is not a whole lot planned right now. Like I said before, I do have numerous versions of Blade Runner thing planned for later on. But before I get to that, I really have to get to that Star Wars Special Edition Trilogy video, which is a whole massive thing I've got to get back in the groove of. Because I was capturing the Laserdisc. I got Star Wars and Empire captured from the Laserdisc on the computer. And I did post up on Patreon, which are free posts to watch right now. You can, they're not watch or whatnot, but you can view them and whatnot. Because I put up comparison stills between 3 different Laserdisc versions of Star Wars and Empire. You can see how the transfers and the grading, all the different type of stuff change from one release to the next. So you can go up on Patreon, watch those, look at those posts completely free. They're easy. Just look at all the different collages I put together for all that type of stuff and see how they changed. Check that out there and everything like that. And so I got to gear back up. I got to kind of confer with someone else to kind of get some more information about it. There's a lot of stuff I got to gear up to get going on and stuff like that. So hopefully I'll be able to put out the Heat Retro Video Series thing, put out a commentary, which will kind of buy me a little extra time to kind of prepare and stuff like that. And hopefully by the end of the month I'll get it shot. I don't know anything like that. But I'm also I'm still going to keep going with the movie review stuff. I'm just trying to find the right thing to go off of. No, I kind of promised doing the one for fall in the Denzel Washington film. Not entirely certain where that's going to land at this point in time, because whatever. I just want to find something that I feel very excited about, feels like a unique thing to go off of, something that just has a certain flavor for me right now. I just want to feel like I'm hitting something that I very much want to talk about. So, betting a few minor things around, but I'm not going to do anything where I'm going to buy a Blu-ray or something else like that. I'm going to find something that's in my collection now, because mine's a little tight, and so I'm not buying as much. I don't have as much on the media pickup stuff as I usually do because of that, so I'm just trying to get some things on the side to increase my revenue stream and stuff like that. So that's just about on the verge of happening, but I'm just not going to say anything right now. But anything in that regard, so I'm just kind of floating things around with the Forever Cinematic Review stuff. But the Retro Video stuff is set. Commentaries are set. August for Commentaries is a little in flux right now. I sent out an email to Steve last night, see where he wants to go on certain things, because we want to do the Cujo commentary for the 40th anniversary in mid-August, but the Kino Lorber 4K edition has not been giving a date or specs or anything like that, so I doubt it's going to drop in the next month. I'm kind of doubting it to a certain degree. We might miss it, so we might have to push that off a little bit and find a replacement, so we're kind of going to be batting that around the next week or two or something else like that. So right now, everything we have bagged up for July is completely recorded, and we'll get off until the beginning of August where we can schedule a date and get things going, figure out what we're going to do. We are planning to do the body bags, that John Carpenter anthology flick or whatnot that was supposed to be like a Tales from the Crypt kind of competition on Showtime and whatnot. We're planning it because early August, there's like a 30th anniversary date, which isn't like someone's going to be majorly celebrating that, but if we get an anniversary date, we kind of like it, and we feel like, sure, whatever. We've got 2 other Carpenter flicks planned for like October, November to hit also anniversary dates, so we got some Carpenter stuff. We figured, sure, we batted around, and I think the Village of the Damned, maybe the Prince of Darkness commentary, so sure, whatever. It'll probably be a breezy set, probably like 90 minutes, no problem whatsoever. It's free to watch up on Peacock right now. If you have that service, you can check on it and stuff like that. So I'll be watching that in due time, get refreshed on that. So I just got to find a second title that's solid for August right now, since we kind of don't know where things are going to land for Cujo at this point in time, because I've yet to watch it. See if it's, I think he plans to read this story or something else like that. I don't know, but anything like that. I haven't watched the film yet because I was kind of waiting for the disc to drop, and I had to watch it there and stuff like that and get all fresh and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. We don't know anything like that. So off on that. So that's all the stuff we kind of get here and there, everywhere about upcoming stuff or recent stuff on the channel here and there. So I got a few other things I'm going to talk about. I'll wait until I talk about the few minor things I have here, because I haven't had time to watch. Well, hold on. I did get the Laserdisc for Heat. It was $10, and the thing's in great condition. I captured the entire damn thing, so I have the whole damn thing comes across 3 sides on 2 discs here, because the film runs about 2 hours 50 minutes long. So I was wondering if they're going to do 4 sides, because you could easily do that, or something else like that. I mean, it does have a 4 side technically, but there's nothing on the 4th side. So they got away with 3 sides. It's all CLV. I thought maybe they do it like a 4 side with a CAV final act or something else like that, like some films do. But they got away with the mathematics and breaking the scene breaks and stuff like that for a 3-sided affair or whatnot. This just is widescreen with AC3 Dolby Digital. So that was kind of a good thing for Warner Bros. To get up on that at that time. And a lot of interesting things I saw looking at the comparisons between this, the DVD, the original Blu-ray, and the remastered Blu-ray. There's a lot of things to get into in the ways of how things look. The DVD is actually kind of the worst one, oddly enough, because there's certain issues with the geometry of the frame in some places. But I'll get into things in due time. But very interesting thing to grab that. And it looks, honestly, artwork looks wonderful. The back side of it looks pretty nice, slick, and stuff like that. So various things to talk about in that regard. And the only other actual movie I picked up, because like I said, a little strapped for cash right now, but I signed up for Amazon Prime to grab some stuff, and I returned a bunch of stuff, and here, there, and everywhere. I felt like I might as well use the frickin' Prime to just get something, because the price was cheaper on Amazon than it was at Best Buy or something else like that. So I did grab John Wick Chapter 4 in 4K, just a standard 4K edition with a slipcover and stuff like that. I did notice something weird, because this got corroborated, and apparently it's a Lionsgate-centric issue, because I don't know how well this is going to look on this entire thing, but regardless, the little slip thing that goes inside the view, the plastic thing here, it's not sized correctly. It's too narrow. You can get like maybe about It's like a quarter inch too narrow. It comes up short. If you can see this at all with the black on black thing, but the thing comes up short on both ends, where it doesn't completely wrap around the entire capacity of this entire interior slip type of thing. It's like, I looked at this thing, it's like, do I have to return this now? I don't want to return this. I've returned too much shit to Amazon right now. I don't want to do this shit. Then I put out a post, I looked on forums, stuff like that. Yeah, it's just a fucking landscape, weird ass shit. I don't know if someone's putting in the wrong specs when they're designing the artwork, or they're cutting it the wrong way. I don't know. It looks more like just a design flaw, because it doesn't look like there's anything cut off, particularly on either side of this thing. It just seems like someone's not doing the correct math on how the size of the case is. So, just weird on that regard. But like I said, I haven't had time to watch this at all and stuff like that. It's a 3-hour film, so close to 3 hours or whatnot. But so I just really haven't had that much time to sit down and watch things, despite the fact that I did my entire Mission Impossible franchise rewatch. My 4K edition, because I started on Sunday, went to Monday, then I did the final 3 films on July 4th. I got about 70 minutes into the second film, and I turned it off because I was just fucking bored. That film is bad. It's really just as bad as everyone has said for years and years and years. It's not good. It feels weird. It doesn't feel anything like the first film whatsoever. Even the character of Ethan Hunt feels like he's trying to be Pierce Brosnan, James Bond. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't feel right at all. It's not a good film. It's just not well put together. It's got some misogynist dialogue. It feels way outdated. It just feels really I don't know who was doing what. Weirdly enough, it's got the story, not the screenplay, but the story was developed by Ron Moore and Brandon Braga from Star Trek. The guys who gave us Generations and First Contact, a bunch of other really fantastic episodes of Star Trek through Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and stuff like that. These guys were really just Trek go-to guys, and they developed the story for Mission 2, which stinks. And just like, I just, 70 minutes in, there's 70 minutes, almost no action in this action movie. It's like a semblance of an action scene beginning the whole film with the entire airplane situation or whatnot, where they do things on the airplane to blow the thing up and crash it. There's no action for like the next hour in the entire damn film. It's like, it's supposed to be an action movie. There's no action. There's no suspense. There's no tension. There's no thrills. It's really just bad. Right before they actually got to the action scene, it's like, I'm just done with this film. It's so boring. No one has any real charisma. Dougray Scott, fucking bland as shit as the villain in this thing. I just like bored out of my mind watching this guy. I can't believe they originally cast this guy as Wolverine and X-Men. Because obviously the entire story everyone's told is the fact that they had runoffs. They went over schedule on the entire film, or did reshoots, and then interfered, so we had to step out of X-Men and got Hugh Jackman. The role was like, and Hugh Jackman has never really had a role where he at least didn't have some charisma or some charm or something else like that. This guy just bland as a plank of wood. I just know this guy's got nothing. He's got nothing on screen that's worth watching. Even the opening sequence where they have him wearing the mask, masquerading as Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise is doing a better performance as the villain than the guy actually cast as the villain. It's like, just not good. It's not a good film. Don't bother watching it. It's not good. Boring plot, goes nowhere. There's no humor. There's no real charisma. There's nothing here they really grasp onto that's a bit exciting until you get to like the last 45 minutes of the entire movie, which is just overblown, over-stylized action that just like has no business being attached to this franchise, anything that was before it or even after it. It's just complete aberration, the entire franchise. That the only thing you really can note that ever gets referenced by proxy in the whole thing is the opening mountain climbing sequence, because he does all the climbing. He does the climbing on the bridge that gets blown up in 3. He does the Burj Khalifa climb in Ghost Protocol and stuff like that. So I think there's maybe another, and then the entire thing in Fallout when he's climbing up the rocks or something like that at the end. So there's at least that. You won't really need anything from 2 to kind of set that up in any type of way, but it's there as part of the character to some degree or whatnot, the implied continuity or whatnot, but it's the only thing. So, like I said in my soundtrack video that almost no one watched, I do have the soundtrack to that film. I don't know why I still have it. Probably just because I'm enough of a Metallica fan to keep the track on there. But fuck it, there's nothing else on that soundtrack worth listening to. Nothing. But, anything like that. So I haven't got around to watching that, but I did watch that. Watch all those films. I watched Jaws in 4K for the first time because I realized I got this. Put it up on Instagram. I have this big old stack of movies I've purchased in the last year that I haven't had the time to actually watch yet. So there's stuff like the 4K of Bram Stoker's Dracula. There's the freaking the Fog 4K, Event Horizon. There's freaking Gremlins and Usual Suspects and Beetlejuice and fucking everything else in the fucking universe. Scream 2. I will be hopefully doing a Scream franchise rewatch before they do the Scream 6 commentary in September. But hopefully I'm going to do that because I want to go back through everything overall, just get a real fresh sense of the whole thing. Because I haven't watched the films 6 since the theater, and so I kind of want to rewatch everything as best I can and get up on the whole thing so I can get a real fresh take on everything when we go into the commentary. So I know the 4K of Scream 6 and the whole physical media stuff for Scream 6 is coming out next week. I will see exactly what I grab the disc, but I will eventually grab the disc before we get to the commentary. I don't think Steve's watched the film yet. He didn't go to see it theatrically. He was going to watch it up on streaming. He didn't have Paramount Plus, so I don't know exactly where his situation lies. He's kind of going in and out of state right now due to business stuff for his job and everything, so I don't know exactly where his free time lands him at this point in time, but he's driving back and forth, flying back and forth, stuff like that. So we got that going eventually on that whole thing. So, like I said, August is the most nebulous type of thing right now. It's kind of all up in the air. So here and there and everywhere. If you've heard anything that we've kind of thrown out in the wind or whatnot about maybe getting some feedback about doing commentaries about certain things, we threw out UHF on the last one because we made a few references here and there because of like there's a cast member here or there or something else like that. Anything like that. So anything we've thrown out here or there, give us some feedback on it. Maybe we'll punch it up on the schedule. Maybe we'll get around to it faster. Just fill in a hole here or there or whatnot. But here and there and everywhere, we got all that type of stuff. And but the one of the things I grabbed, just most people don't care about me talking about music or whatnot, but I had all these old In Excess songs from iTunes, like early iTunes. It was like 128 kbph, low quality stuff. So I was like, I don't want to listen to those old versions and whatnot. So I did go to Hess Price Books and did eventually grab up 2 of their really good albums, Kick and X. And I was like, I'm listening to more songs off of these than I ever listened before. It's like, oh yeah, I do know that song. Here and everywhere, anything like that. So like, there's a lot of hits on these things, really good stuff. So I was like, it's kind of cool. I was going to grab another one, but I was like, okay, I don't want to splurge right now because, like I said, I was a little conservative on the budget type of things. But there's eventually another one I'll grab up. But it's like, NXS is pretty damn cool songs all the way on that regard. And another thing I wanted to throw out there is that back when I was doing short films, what I keep trying to get back around to, I start working on scripts, then other things come in the way of doing stuff on the channel and various other things, and I get away from doing scripts and stuff like that. So, but back when I did short films and stuff like that, my short film Dead of Night. Now, the original version is an old upload I have on here, but I did have to, this is back in like 2011 or whatnot, I had a hard drive failure that just wiped out all my files. I had to reconstruct the entire film from scratch, re-import everything, re-edit everything back exactly as it was, but technically it was a remastered version. I improved the picture quality, fixed some stuff in the audio mix and stuff like that. I did improve things as I went along. That version has never been uploaded here on YouTube. It is on Vimeo. It's also on Amazon Prime for rent. I keep trying to get up as like a regular like free for Prime thing, but it keeps getting kicked back and reverted, stuff like that eventually or whatnot. So it's up on Vimeo to watch for free. But if you guys are very much like really, really interested in me putting it up on YouTube, let me know. There's got to be a really strong demand for it because I don't want to put something out and it gets like 20 views and it sits there and looks embarrassing. I don't want to do that. It is a really, really strong concerted effort to me putting that remastered version on for a film I made 14 years ago. The little thing, I don't like to just put up some old thing up on the channel just for the sake of it. It just feels kind of out of step and out of sync and stuff like that. But it's been swirling around my mind back and forth and stuff like that. So I figured I'd throw it out to you guys. If there's a strong concerted effort, it's a 30-minute short film, black and white, kind of Manhunter-esque type of story in that regard. Let me know what you feel about it. If you want me to put up the remastered version, let me know. And stuff like that. So I don't know if I I think I put up the old commentary from the DVD I put up a long time ago or whatnot. But there's a Dead of Night playlist on the channel. Go check it out. Watch the trailer or something else like that. And let me know what you feel about the entire situation. Hit me up here in the comments, Twitter, Facebook, whatever the case is. Anything like that. So there's that. And something I've been doing lately. I've been working with my friend Ames, who's been having a little trouble with YouTube. And being around YouTube long enough, I know at least a number of things. She was trying to get a lot of stuff. Her music distribution was not going the right ways in some places. It was publishing to the wrong channels. There's things didn't get sort of quite the right way at the beginning of when she was doing things on that account. So we've been kind of futzing around and kind of dealing with resolving issues, stuff like that. And just the fact that I've been working very, very closely and very diligently with her. And it's been a really, really fantastic experience working with her so much. She's been a friend for 4.5 years now, coming up on 5. So it's like she's put out some really good singles this year. I very much implore you guys to go check her stuff out. I think she does fantastic work. She's a really wonderful person and always just very much a great friend. And so I just wanted to throw that out there because I've been working very much on an hourly rate to work on these things to resolve them for her. So that's been giving me a little extra stuff here and there. So I've been working very much with her, keep on top of certain things in that regard, helping clear up some other things on her other music platforms. There was some problems with some other the wrong tracks being up on her own Apple Music page, which I took care of. I put in a request and removed that stuff. So really helping her out in this whole thing because she's not signed to a label anymore. So she's really much doing a lot of stuff independently. And so if I wasn't around, there'd be a lot of mess for all these different platforms and things to get around in places that they shouldn't be. So I'm working really hard with her to make these things happen. And I'm very much pleased to do that. And so there's that. And talking about Star Wars stuff again, because I have gotten through a lot more of the audiobook stuff. I got through Heir of the Empire last time I talked about this stuff. Then I eventually got through Dark Force Rising, which was the second book in the 3-book series. And I'm on the last command. I thought Dark Force Rising was pretty damn good. The audiobook production quality on these Essential Legacy Collection audiobooks is phenomenal. The sound effects are all authentic. The music is John Williams. It's all the different stuff. The voice work from Marc Thompson is incredible. He makes very distinct characters with his voice for every single character in every single story, everything. It's like he's got like 20 different voices he's putting together for all these different characters. They're all very distinct, all consistent, so extremely well produced. I think it's really fantastic type of work. And I thought Dark Force Rising was a really good story. I really liked all the stuff going on with Han and Lando in the entire story, where they're kind of the title of things you think is much more like Dark Force, like a Sith Lord or something else like that, the darkness of the Force or something like that. But it's actually referring to this sort of mythical fleet or whatnot that was out there years ago, like during the Clone Wars or something like that. And a lot of the threads are kind of following along with the Empire. Then Han, Lando, and a couple of other people are kind of pursuing to get this really important fleet that could turn the balance of power or whatnot in this entire war between the New Republic and the Empire and stuff like that. So very interesting stuff in that regard. I thought there was some stuff that didn't feel like they were quite coming up to strong enough fruition. There were certain things that were a little... I bring it up on Twitter between me and Steve. Steve's not a Star Wars guy, but it was a dramatic irony thing that he actually hates. I was getting up on it where this kind of thing where the character of Jorah Sabaoth, this sort of dark Jedi, a.k.a. Sith, is kind of luring in Luke Skywalker, kind of like, oh, he's going to be like setting himself up as the new Obi-Wan or the new Yoda or whatnot, but honestly, he's a psychotic clone. But Luke doesn't know this stuff, but the audience does know it. And it's like, okay, he's trying to make it seem like he's going to be the one that have him train Leia and train the twins or whatnot and stuff like that. But kind of leading things along is like, we know this guy's the bad guy. We know he's a nut job. He's a dangerous psychopath. But we're kind of waiting for Luke to go along and trying to figure this stuff out himself. It was just very boring. It's very tedious type of stuff in there. So there was some stuff that I was like, kind of push and pull. I wasn't quite as interested in. Again, the Han and Lando stuff is all very much completely on point. Characterization is fantastic. A lot of wit, a lot of action, a lot of different things in that regard. Leia stuff dealing with this entire race of people that kind of got subjugated by the Empire underneath Vader at a certain point in time, and she's trying to do a little bit of maybe kind of redeem the sins of Vader or whatnot to a certain degree by liberating these people. not entirely certain where this story is eventually going to affect the entire New Republic Empire battle and whatnot. I don't know exactly where this is gonna, how this is gonna factor into the larger picture or anything like that. So it feels like a more of a character type of arc instead of like being like much more of a bigger interwoven story arc to a certain degree. So sure, by the end of Last Command, it'll hopefully come together and feel like it's much more tight and cohesive, and all kind of everything kind of bounces back off of one another and all impacts and kind of ties everything together. The whole thing, but it's kind of good. I'm liking the Luke Skywalker Mara Jade stuff. I really like the Talon Card character, who's just kind of, like I said before, it's a very calculated smuggler type of character. It's not quite that gruff and tumble type of guy. It feels like he's got a little bit more a calculated sensibility about how he does business, how he moves things along the chessboard or whatnot. Very much that type of character. I like it. He's very, very fascinating character to see exactly what subtle moves he's going to make in certain directions, how far he's going to commit himself to one party or whatnot on certain places of the entire board here. So he's a very interesting character. I like him a lot. Very good stuff. And like I said, Marc Thompson's work creating all these characters is such a fantastic, phenomenal type of thing. Really like it. Another audiobook I listened to, which is an old one, which I still have it on tape. I was looking to get rid of it now since there was on Audible for damn cheap, was Star Trek The Next Generation Q Squared. Really enjoyed the hell of this thing. All read by John de Lancie. Fabulous. Does a pretty good job with Picard. Does a really good Worf. It's a really good job deepening the voice, getting the cadence that Michael Dorn has. He did a really good Worf. His Trelane was really fantastic as well. So they bring back the character of Trelane, who kind of taps into this like almost massive power that kind of like starts warping realities and bleeding different timelines together and stuff like that. So it was very interesting. It's very much abridged. So it's like I was half thinking maybe getting the actual book itself, which would have the full text. But I felt like, maybe later on. Maybe later on when I feel like I got more time, because I pretty much completely scrapped touching comic books right now because I just don't have the time. I haven't had the time to keep up with stuff. I got this Action Comics thing I bought like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. I've read like half the damn thing. I read the main story. I haven't read any of the backup stories. I'm not even up on anything because, again, tight with cash, and kind of the first thing that goes is the comic books and anything like that. So here and there and everywhere. So it's like I thought about grabbing the actual book of Q Squared, the novel, but it's like, okay, I'm not going to feel good about like, okay, I'm rereading passages I just listened to on the audiobook. It's going to feel a little weird. So, but it's still saying I very much enjoyed the entire experience listening to the whole thing. Didn't have authentic sound effects or music, but it still had stuff that was very tonally appropriate. It was very good. It still felt very strong as a presentation, that thing. They haven't redone any old audiobooks as far as I'm aware. They have gone back and done like new audiobooks that are unabridged versions. But I sampled them, and apparently it's done with a proper voice actor, but I don't think they're putting any sound effects or any music on the type of thing. It's just like a straight reading of the whole thing. So I was like, it's kind of things like either you get the abridged thing, but it's a little more dry, or you get the abridged version, which has a little bit more life and color to it, but you're getting less of the actual story. So it's a little unfortunate in that regard. But apparently there's a lot of those old audiobooks that are done that way, with a musical presentation, with sound effects and stuff like that, that might not be the most faithful to the novel, but they give a little certain life that they have. Feel like, I don't know, I think they got Frank's doing some. I think Major Barrett did jump in on certain things. There was one like Q in Law, which had Oksana and Q on the whole thing, so they both work on the whole thing. There's a couple of different ones that they brought in different people. I think Nimoy did a couple of them here and there. So there's a lot of them they did with the actual cast, with like Jimmy Doohan and stuff like that back in the day, back in the 90s. So interesting stuff. If I ever get back on Audible, where I eventually will, or something else like that, but that'll be something else I kind of like to go into, because at least the abridged ones are about 3 hours long, so nice in the slot in between things. So I finished Dark Force Rising, and I did Q Squared, so I was like, I got that done like maybe 2.5 days or something like that at best, at the longest or whatnot. So it's like, it was a nice palate cleanser right in the middle that wouldn't take me 2 or 3 weeks to get through, a couple of days, and then would jump right into The Last Command. So anything like that. So if you're interested in Star Trek audiobooks, just check out the samples on Audible. They're usually about 2 or 3 minutes long to get a sense of how the thing is. I wasn't crazy about the actual voice actor. Maybe I'd have to listen to more stuff, but I wasn't super won over about anything like that. But still, anyway, like that. For the new ones, I wasn't quite as won over on the entire style of the whole thing, so here and there and everywhere. But regardless of that, guys, I think that's roughly about all there is. So, guys, if you want to throw out the stuff about Dead of Night or some other commentaries you think might kind of work in August or whatnot, I don't know, something else like that. I would just like to hear some feedback on certain things here and there. And so, thanks, guys, so much for checking things out. There's always the Patreon to contribute every month to give something in return and support the channel. Super Things feature in the entire thing below. And all the other type of stuff. So, guys, comment, like, share, subscribe, all the type of stuff helps immensely. And so, thanks so much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.